Yeah. That's okay, I'll go without worrying. Ma'am, my name is Apurva. I'm from... Hello? Yeah. I'm working with HRL in Delhi, and we had a debate sort of a thing where I first got to know about disability rights. It happened in our office a few weeks ago. And this issue about paralysis patients came up. I just wanted to know, do these acts extend to paralysis patients?
Of course.
They do?
Yes, because a paraplegic will either be a person with physical locomotor impairment, so they will fall into the physically challenged category. If there are other impairments which have also resulted as a result of the paraplegism, then they will fall into the category of multiple disabilities. So physical as well as X or Y or Z, and then it will come under the purview of the National Trust Act.
So there's no condition that you have to see a disability for it to be under the purview of disability, right?
How do you see? Okay, so let me ask you. If you look at me, what do you see? Do you see a disabled person or non-disabled person?
I see a non-disabled person.
Right, but I have a disability certificate. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
You don't have to see a disability for it to be a disability.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
From Pakistan.
Sorry? You didn't get your name.
Mustafa.
Yeah.
So, what do you think calling a disabled person as a disabled is not a discriminatory in itself? As my friend from Nepal has said that they call them as a differently able person, something like that in Pakistan, that people with special abilities, something like that. What do you think?
Well, this is a question that I actually find quite comfortable to answer because I'm part of the community, right? I'm disabled myself. And this is my understanding. My understanding is that all of these, there are certain words which I have great exception to. I have great exception to the word handicap. Yeah? And that's because where does it originate from? It originates from the fact that disabled persons were only good enough to beg, cap in hand, handicap banke, wo handicapped. You see? But apart from that, I feel that all of these terminologies, really we lose too much time in these terminologies. And they are terminologies which we find good or bad only because of the connotations that we put on them. I remember reading a little snippet in the newspaper that in America they were planning to start a city for the deaf. It was going to be a complete city for the deaf. So everything was going to happen in sign language. And I was taking a training with some deaf people, and I said to them, and I wasn't able to explain to them, how disability is a concept that depends on your surroundings, your environment, and who and what you are and what your state of knowledge is at that point of time. And then I suddenly said to them, I said, I don't know sign language. Now, as I read in the paper, if I were to go to the city of the deaf, what would happen to me? And there was and then they said, but you'd be completely disabled, and that's a fact. So I would say, what is the problem in saying disabled? I would be disabled if I speak Hindi and I land up in France and I can't speak the language, I'm disabled. But nobody will consider it bad to say, I am disabled because I cannot speak French. So disability, abilities, special needs, special abilities, whatever you like to call it, at the end of the day, it's only what connotation you put on it yourself. These are constructs that we make.
And also disabled people don't mind being called disabled.
But if you call me something like, the translation of my act in Hindi is Nishakt Jan. Now that I have an objection to, because I am not without power. That I have an objection. But the fact of the matter is that if I am blind, it's a medical condition, and somebody calls me blind, I'm okay with that. I don't have a problem. My problem comes because somebody else suddenly pops up and says, oh, but that's terribly discriminatory. Why are you saying they're blind? So, I don't know if that answers your question. Yes. Okay.
There was one more question at the back.
Yeah, Madam, my name is Altaf. Since you talk about that, you have been fighting for the rights of disabled people, or for that purpose, the differently able people. But if we see in the state of India itself, there are so many states which are, undergoing a conflict situation, like the states mostly in the northern part of India. There, we have been witnessing, a large number of, landmine blasts and, firing incidents of firing, in which people get, disabled also. Has your organization or have you till date filed any case in terms of which you have tried to seek, special compensation or special rights for the people who, on whom the disability was actually inflicted by way of, an incident of firing or by way of an explosion of a landmine blast?
I personally haven't, but I
think that.
yeah.
Can I have a mic? Yeah. I just want to respond to Altaf. This Javed Ahmad Tak's case in Jammu Kashmir was filed by Faisal, and through that case we were able to get substantial compensation to Javed, etc., etc. We have also been working on this issue of disability and conflict in certain parts of the country. Two cases that I can talk about are one. Last year we filed a case in the Srinagar High Court on the killing of an intellectually impaired person by special police officers in Poonch, where the police officers killed this person, shot him to death, basically to claim an award by saying that he was a terrorist. And we did a fact finding and we filed a petition in the Srinagar High Court. It's under hearing. There was another case that we had done in Assam, where a deaf girl was raped by 11 police officers. And that matter lasted for almost a year in the High Court, and the Assam High Court awarded a compensation. There was an identification parade of the culprits. 3 people were identified and they are now behind bars. So we do try to sort of take up these cases whenever they come up. There was a third case that we did in, where was this? In Jharkhand, which is again a conflict state, where a person with a hearing impairment was again exterminated by police officers on the basis of, saying that he was a terrorist, he was a Maoist. And there again we did a fact-finding with the PUCL. And we went to the High Court in Jharkhand, we even went to the Human Rights Commission. And there again we are asking for compensation and, inquiry into the matter and people to be sort of prosecuted, whoever was behind the killing. And I think in that particular case, the CIDB has been asked to inquire into the incident. So, Altaf, I just want to respond. But yes, this is an area that we would want to work on more. We are in touch with the landmine survivors in Kashmir. The entire group, we have met them. It has not translated into a litigation as at the moment for various reasons, but we are in touch with them.
Also, I just want to say on this issue that there is also another pronged approach, which actually we haven't gone to court with it. But what we've been trying also to do alongside is a lot of advocacy, so that in the planning commission we have a certain amount of fund allocation for basically victims of trauma, so that they can be rehabilitated and given whatever help is necessary for that rehabilitation. So I think my time is up. I'm just going to introduce Pankaj. Pankaj is a lawyer with HRLM, and he's disabled himself, but he's been doing great work and part of it in the field of disability. So I'm going to hand over to Pankaj now.
Thank you, Mama.
going to say that I was only able to share. Okay, before I hand over the mic to Pankaj, I'm just going to say that I was only able to share a few of the case laws. We have a very large body. So if anybody wants, you can come and give me an email ID. I do have a PowerPoint which I think I will be able to mail to you all. Yeah?
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Is mic working? Can you all hear me? Yes. Okay. It is indeed an honor for me to be here on this occasion when many lawyers are from different countries of South Asia. Before I proceed, before I start giving you maybe my boring lecture on slides, I would just like to let you know that disability which my friend just talked about, she's actually very senior to me, under whom I started practicing also. So she just told you about disability law. I'll tell you that in India there are many laws. There are many laws in India, and you will always read newspapers, they are full of judgments. But I am telling you today, and you can check it any day, that the judgments which have been passed on under social legislation, disability is the one on which most of the maximum judgment have been passed. And this shows that even the judiciary recognizes this fact that persons with disabilities are not only marginalized, they are deliberately ignored, they are deliberately deprived of the rights which are guaranteed under the Constitution, under the Benevolent Disability Act, or any law for the time being enforced. Just now one of my friend was mentioning about the Disability Act of Nepal and the directive passed by Supreme Court. When we hear about directions of the courts, sometimes we are glamorized. We feel that the persons with disabilities are getting everything on the earth. But what is the fact? What is the truth?